Hello, I hope you're doing great. Today we are going to talk about a vital feature that every user-centric system must have, and that is the ability to listen to your users, because they are actually the ones who will drive your system. You are working the system for them, so you need to listen to their feedback, their ideas, what they want, right? Um, so we will talk about that and we'll see a little example on how to do it. However, before we continue, please remember to visit fairplaytube.bdicostarica.com, click the Buy Me a Coffee icon in here, and select a donation of your preference. That will allow us to keep the videos and products free for you. And now I was seeing this and I read it earlier before. This is a plural site promotion, so you can go to the plural site website and it says interactive courses and projects free from um, November 19th through November 21st. So basically until tomorrow. So if you're seeing this today or tomorrow, go and um, take advantage of that promotion. Okay, so when you are building a system, especially if you are doing entrepreneurship, sorry, I can never pronounce that word correctly. One of the things that you need to do is listen to feedback, right? If you haven't started your project yet, you need to start pitching your project, your idea, and start showing that to your potential users and try to implement the feedback that makes more sense and that will give you the most and the best customers or well paid customers, I would say. Uh, Now, when you already have a system implemented, you will uh, you will have a lot of transitions, right? The system that you have today is not going to be the same system that you are going to have in 6 months. It's not going to be the system that you will have in 1 year or in 2 years. It is going to change, it's going to evolve eventually, right? Your users will want some things, they will find like bugs, they will find things that they need to fix, right? Um, and in this case, in FairPlayTube, we implemented something called user request for two types of requests, right? So remember, FairPlayTube is a video sharing platform, and we are using it initially as a platform to upload our training videos on .NET, Azure, Blazor, and Unity. Now, we still have the creation of users a little bit blocked, right? So users cannot yet create an account unless we actually invite them and give them an invitation code. However, there are already people visiting the website, right? And we are interested in knowing what do they want, right? For example, we already have analytics in here, and I have seen people searching for keywords, right? I have seen persons searching for specific topics like game development or gaming, right? Things like that. So you can do that through analytics, right? But what happens if um, the analytics is not really enough, right? The analytics is really representing what their users are doing, but it does not fully represent what they want, right? So that's why it is extremely important to have um, user request features, right? So in here we implemented a feature here. You can click this bulb icon, and let me put it in English. So that bulb icon, it's basically a user request form, right, where they can request either content or a new feature in the system, and we will evaluate that. So they select they want content, so they put what kind of content they want in there. They put their email address, so we can communicate with them to get more information about what they want, right? If they haven't been really specific, so we can help them, right? We will consider all of that. And feature requests will basically be features in the system that may be interesting. For example, I know something that two things that people will want, right? And that are in the backlog. Honestly, do not know when they will be implemented, but there are two things that might need to be implemented. VR, right? Support for VR videos, support for VR links, right? And now with the next phase in the world of um, web, we need to figure out ways to implement the metaverse into the system, right? So, for example, I have considered a couple of scenarios, like some Unity additional application where users can navigate in there and watch the videos simultaneously in a virtual room, right? And chat in there in a Unity application, right? Um, Now that has some other considerations, right? Because that will be a totally separate application. It's more focused on game development side, right? And 3D modeling and all that. And it brings additional costs and things like that, right? So it's not something that uh, we will be able to do initially, but I'm pretty sure that's something people will want, right? There are some other things that I know people will want, and it's support for I forgot the term. Uh, Bitcoins, no, cryptocurrency, right? And yeah, that is actually in the plans. The only reason we haven't really been implementing it yet is that um, there are still a lot of countries where you cannot convert your cryptocurrency in the country local currency. So, for example, in Costa Rica, we use colones, right? And it is really difficult to find um, legal ways to convert your money, your cryptocurrency in colones, because it is cryptocurrencies are still not really considered a real currency, right? It's not officially recognized. So you won't be able to convert it in a lot of banks, right? And there are still a lot of places that do not accept payment with cryptocurrency. So you see where I go, right? Basically, your cryptocurrency will be in your wallet. And if you can invest that in other places, yes, but it will be really difficult to use it for a living because you cannot convert it. And a lot of people do not accept it. So that's kind of the deal in there. But I know a lot of people will want to be paid with cryptocurrency, and we may eventually add that option. Um, so yeah, one of the vital features that you need to have in your systems is the ability to allow your users to create requests. In this case, content requests for the video content that they want, and feature requests, right? For any kind of interesting feature they may want, right? And you know the users will get some interesting and really crazy ideas that will actually help you make the platforms much better. So one of the first steps that you need to do in every system is implement feature requests and also bug reports, of course. Um, but yeah, feature request is vital for every system. Okay, now how did we do it in FairPlayTube? Remember, FairPlayTube is .NET 6 application with Blazor web assembly, right? And we are using Entity Framework. So in here we have in the database, we have a couple of tables. One table is named user request type, and the user request type will be basically feature request or content request, right? And then we have the user request. The user request basically have the normal fields, right? The ID, a foreign key to the user request type, the description, the email address. We added this in case the users haven't created the account, so we can have their email address if they haven't logged in because they just can't or they do not want to create an account in the system. Uh, but we want to be able to reach them when they add requests because this will help us get more information of what they want. And then these are basically auto-generated fields, right? Now here we have in the post-deployment scripts, we have a section where the user request types are being inserted. So the feature request is being inserted in here and the content request is being inserted in here. Now, if you have paid attention to the FairPlayTube development, you will know that we split this in a lot of projects, preparing it to support Maui Blazor in the future and reuse a lot of the code, right? Um, so in here we have the services project, right? The services project has this user request service, and this user request service basically has two methods: add anonymous user request async and add authenticated user request async. They do exactly the same. The only thing is that this method retrieves the ID from the login user and it's only invoked when the user is logged in. This was done in two separate methods to avoid having a lot of mixed logic in the same method, right? So the one for the public is this one: add anonymous user request async. It has a model. This model is create user request model, and it has the user request type, the description, the email address, and you see that this is already localized. So display name is localized. The display name for request type is localized. The required string length and display name for description is fully localized. The same goes for the email address, right? So your client-side validation errors will be localized with the selected language that you have. Now, then it creates a new entity of user request, right? It sets the values, it adds that to the user request table, save the changes, and then we are notifying to all of the users. This notification currently is because um, there are only a few users, and we are considering the idea of allowing this kind of global notification. So when someone adds a new user request, that it goes and notify all of the users in the system so they can know what people are looking for, what kind of content they want, so the creators can go and create videos for that. Now, these have some considerations, so this may not be the final form. We may only allow this kind of global notification when the users have already, when users are creating a user request if they are already logged in the system with their created account, right? For now, we are doing this just for testing purposes and see how it behaves, but this might not be the final form. Then we have the controllers, right? In the controllers, we have the user request controller, and the user request controller is pretty much the same. It, ha it has two methods: add anonymous user request async, add authentication user request async. And now this is something that I may need to change. I don't like to have this I never like to have these methods suffix, the controller methods or endpoints suffix with async. Okay, and then we invoke the method in the service, and then we just return okay. In this case, because no exception was thrown and everything was okay. Then we have in the client application here in the shared folder in main layout, we have the icons, and you see that here we have these custom components user request, user request. This user request component, it's in here, and basically it has the icon, right? And it has a validation. If your model is true, show this model, and this model will basically have the edit form that we saw, this edit form. When all of the data is valid, it allows to submit. It invokes the onValid submit, and the onValid submit will invoke the user request client service at anonymous user request async, and then show a localized message indicating that the user request was added. If there is an exception, we will show the message. And we see in here that it invokes this add anonymous user request, right? And it posts the it's a post action, right? So it invokes the controller to the endpoint, and then if there is an error, we verify if it is a problem HTTP response. Otherwise, we throw the exceptions, right? And if it is successful, we just continue the method execution. And that is a very simple way to allow your systems or your users to create user requests so you can know what they want, what they are looking to have in this system. Remember, FairPlayTube is located in GitHub, so you can visit fairplaytube.bticostarica.com. Okay, remember, you can click the Buy Me a Coffee icon and select the donation of your preference. But also in here, if you expand in here, you will see that the GitHub link is in here, and this will take you to the GitHub repository where we have everything, right? If you want to report a bug, you can go, um, you can report it in here, right? And this will take you to a form where you can report an issue. And if you want to see the known issues, you can see in here. If you are a software developer and you like open source contribution, we are always glad to have people contributing. So you can go to here to issues and you can filter by good first issue, and all of the ones that are not assigned are actually free, so that GitHub contributors can help us with contributions for this great system. Thank you very much and have a great day.